Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. I hope that you are all doing well and enjoying this long weekend. This is where I talk about the books that I'm reading. I like to read diverse books and I highlight a lot of Canadian literature. If you are new, thank you so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. It would be great to have you as part of this community. Can you believe that it's September the 1st? I can't believe that we're already in September. However, over the long weekend, I was able to get out and I spent some time in the mountains. You can probably tell I'm a little bit sunburnt. So if you stick around until the end, I will show you a little bit of the footage that I took in the place that I went for some of yesterday afternoon to evening. But today I'm going to talk about all of the books that I hauled in August. If you watched my last wrap up, then you know that the TBR stack is currently at 1,537. We know that it's going to go up because it's a haul, but hopefully I have read more books in August than I hauled. It's going to be close. I'm looking at the stack. So I think we will eventually be seeing the TBR stack go down again. Not sure if that's going to happen in August or September, but I have a good book stack here, and as usual, I am going to start with the books that I received from different publishers. So grateful to the publishers who do send me books. Really appreciate that. So I'm going to begin with books that I received from Serif, which used to be ZG Stories. They work with publishers and help to market their books. So this one comes from Page 2 Books, and it is 21 Things You Need to Know About Indigenous Self-Government. It's by Bob Joseph, and I have talked about Bob Joseph in the past and about Bob's book, which was 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act. So this book is basically a follow-up to that one, and it is about dismantling the Indian Act and advancing in Indigenous self-government and self-governance. So it highlights different ways that Indigenous self-governance is really already happening. It's currently being practiced in certain places, and it looks at misconceptions around that and what that means. And then it also talks about what this means for Canada. So I'm hoping to read this as part of my own truth and reconciliation work, especially during the month of September. Also might have the opportunity to go and see Bob Joseph speak. So that would be great. Next is a, what do I have here? It's a poetry book by Rob Mclennan, and this poetry collection is called The Book of Sentences, and I read his book, I think it's The Book of Smaller. So this continues poems about being a father as his children are getting older, and it captures domestic moments, and it reflects on parenthood, childhood, and just family life. So I really enjoyed the last collection, The Book of Smaller. So I'm looking forward to reading this one and seeing, some of the new poems that he's put out. Next up is a book of interconnected short stories, and this is from Random House. They reached out and sent an ARC, and this is called Something to Look Forward to by Fannie Flagg. I love this cover, by the way. Flagg is, of course, the author of the very popular story Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. Sorry, Fried Green Tomatoes is just the movie. Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe is the book. And I really liked the cozy vibes of this cover, and I liked that the blurb said that these were warm-hearted stories that were about people finding clever ways to deal with life, basically, and the curveballs that life sometimes, throws at us. And I'm hoping that this might even offer some laughs along the way. I just think that this sounded like something that we can all use right now. So I'm really looking forward to reading this and getting to it. Maybe even closer to Christmas. It's not about Christmas, but it has a kind of vibe. Okay, next is from St. Martin's Press. This is a memoir called Semi-Well Adjusted, and it's by Alyson Stoner. Some of you may already know this author as an actor. Although I've seen some of the movies that they're in, I actually didn't know who this was, and I couldn't have told you anything about them. However, I am interested in learning more about their story and what they've been through. And I think like maybe I'm taking a page from Dan Pelzer's legacy, since he would read memoirs and books about a variety of people. So I like that idea. And I will link the video that I did where I talked about Dan Pelzer and his reading legacy. I'll link it below so you can check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. But in this memoir, we learn of Alyson's life as a child actor and their home life, peaking professionally at a very early age, and then their path of self-discovery and advocacy. So I'm looking forward to reading more about who Alyson Stoner is and what they're about. All right, the last book from publishers is another nonfiction book, and this is called Needy Media, and it's by Stephen Monteiro. This is from McGill-Queen's University Press, and when I first received it, I was like, I don't remember getting this or asking for this, but this book looks at the independence that we have, I guess, on personal media devices, that these devices actually respond to us, like to our touch, our voice, our gaze, and it ties these things to key concepts of psychology and language and the body. And it talks about the over-reliance and neediness between, users and the devices. So this might be interesting, and I'm sure that I will learn a lot from it. I think we kind of all know some of those things to begin with, but it's all good. So thank you again to all the publishers who sent me these books. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope to get to these soon. So with these books from the publishers, it brings the TBR stack already. The TBR stack is at 1,542. Okay, next is from the Republic of Consciousness. I have this little book. It's called My Sister's Red Shirt. This is by Ning, and it's translated from the Chinese by Annelise Finegan. This was a bestseller in China, and it is a semi-autobiographical novella, which I think is really interesting, and it draws on the relationship between the author and her sister. And it's set in a small city in northern China during the early 1980s. And it's a coming-of-age story, and there's just a lot of elements in this that I think I'm going to like, and I think that this might be good for September since it's a really quick read. It's less than 200 pages. So we'll see. And this brings the TBR stack to 1,543. If you watched my travel and reading vlog that I did sometime in August where I visited a bookstore in Kelowna, then you already know that I picked up a few books while I was there. So I picked up 3 books, and I will link that video below if you want to check it out and see the bookstore. It's a lovely bookstore. And I talk more about these books as well. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them here, but I will show them here so that we can count them for the TBR. Okay, so I picked up Horrorstor by Grady Hendrix, and I might read this closer to October or in October just because it is a horror. I also grabbed The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue? Yes, O'Donoghue. Which I've heard so many good things about this book. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. And I also grabbed this big book, China by Edward Rutherfurd. It is huge, so I'll have to set this aside until I have some time for this one. So with these 3 books, it brings the TBR to 1,546. And yes, there's still a few more to go here. If you watched my July wrap-up, then you know I read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which was just a quick read as well. It's by John Boyne. And I really enjoyed how that story was told from the little boy's perspective. I thought that was like the best part of the whole book. And I found out that there was a sequel. So I picked up All the Broken Places by John Boyne. I have no idea how this is going to continue the story or like what it does. I'm kind of going into it quite blind. But we will see how it picks up the other story or how it continues that story. I picked up the Canadian classic, The Tin Flute by Grabrielle Roy. This was the August pick for the Reading Across Canada book club. And this has been on my TBR for a very, very long time. I forgot to say that it's translated by Alan Brown from the French. So I'm very happy to finally get the chance to read this one. I also picked up Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. Lisa C is one of my all-time favorite authors, and this is historical fiction, which is usually what Lisa C does, but it's inspired by a true story of a woman physician in the 15th century in China. And I've read this, so I will be talking about this, more again when I do my July wrap-up. Oh no, my August wrap-up. My goodness, see? Time is flying by so quickly. Okay, another book that I picked up, which I have also read, is All Fours by Miranda July. This was a nominee for the Women's Prize this year. So I wanted to read it among many of the others that were nominated. And this is about a woman who is a wife and mother. She's planned this road trip from LA to New York, but she doesn't get very far before those plans all change. So as I said, I will be talking about this again soon, actually, when I do my wrap up. Okay, the final book that I hauled in August was Woman on the Verge. This is by Kim Hooper. And I have been wanting to read more by Kim Hooper ever since I first read, what was it called? It was an interconnected short story collection called, it'll come to me, it's right here, All the Acorns on the Forest Floor, which I thought was one of the most stunning short story collections that I've ever read. I absolutely loved that collection. So Women on the Verge is about 3 women, and it basically looks at the theme or topic of motherhood and how all 3 of these women are navigating that. So if this is even half as good as her other book, then I will be a very, very happy camper. I'm really looking forward to reading that. So with these last books, that brings the TBR stack to 1,551. Yeah, it's definitely getting a little high there. But I have done some reading in August too. So hopefully I can bring this TBR stack back down. It's shorty September. Maybe I just need to read a whole bunch of short books. That's what I need to do. Because I'd like to bring it down in the next couple months. I would at least like to be lower than last year by the end of 2025. I think that's possible. That's a good goal. So as promised, I will also share some footage from the mountains at the end of the video. So if you want to check that out. I went to Forget-Me-Not Pond. It's about an hour away from Calgary, just past Bragg Creek, if you know where that is. And it was so busy, like incredibly busy. I did manage to find a few peaceful spots to take some moments to just reflect, and there weren't a whole lot of people around. And I love going to the mountains and exploring, new places to me, just to enjoy the outdoors and nature. So enjoy the videos, and please let me know if you have read any of these books or if you are interested in reading any of them. And then also let me know what books you hauled in, I'm getting mixed up on months, that you hauled in August that you are most excited to read. I, of course, look forward to chatting with you in the comments as always. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.
Yeah.